I always like, there's this concept that one day just like clicked in my head and it like obliterated my brain. Literally the only thing that's limiting us, minus like actual physical capacity at some point, is your belief in like whether or not you can do something, because that's what leads action, right?
Yep.
Like even with habit change, people are like, well, they'll come to me like, I can't do this, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, I know you can't, because listen, like, why would you ever do it if you tell yourself every day that you can't do it? What if you told yourself, I am gonna do it and I will do it? What would happen then?
Believe in yourself. The cat hanging, just hang in there. Welcome back to the Positive People Posse Living Room. I'm your host, Dom Green, life enthusiast and marketer of Positive People Posse. This is where we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and uplifting, and of course, marketing. We are your marketing sponsor today. We can help you out with your ROI and get that digital footprint online. Today's guest is a friend of mine through Positive People Posse, Jessica Kaufman. How are you doing today?
Good. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, you look like you're about to get gaming right now.
Yeah, this is my son's headset because of mine broke.
Okay.
So it is a gaming headset.
Yeah. Looks like you're about to do some Call of Duty or something.
I put it on and I was like, do I need to buy one of these instead of like my normal one? Because I have one of like business ones, but the noise canceling on these.
Noise canceling, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
I use Bose. They're not a sponsor, but you know, maybe
one day they
Bose,
should be. Yeah.
Yeah, holler at us.
Hit them up.
We'll make some things happen. You know, so I really love to just dive into like what you do first, and then we're gonna kind of backtrack and talk about what led you up to this, all your experiences and anything and everything. So what is it that you do?
So I like to classify myself as a healthy living coach because I do a combination of what some would consider fitness or health coaching, but I also bring the mindset aspect into it and the goal setting. So I end up doing a lot of life coaching too. So I just call it healthy living coaching. Within that, I do one-on-one coaching. I do some corporate wellness, either classes or I go within their programs. And then I have my cooking club where I just bring some of the, healthy recipes and like stuff like that for subscribers, I guess.
See, you're like kind of like a mini conglomerate, right? Like,
kind of. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything, I feel like.
Yeah. I would say that I'm semi the same, I think it's really all hand in hand, like the business mindset aspect, and then, the coaching and the food, it all ties to one another. And, like that's what we kind of do in a sense, Positive People Posse, it's like all about mindset. And I don't know what people know about us or what they think about us, but they're like, oh, positivity, but
yeah.
We work with businesses. Yeah. I see the smiling face. But it's, it's all full circle, because when we deal with entrepreneurs, those are the people that have to probably go through the fire even more every single day. And so to work with their business and then also have a friend that can help them with their mindset, like that's what we're after. And, makes sense to some people. Other people are like, I don't know how you do all these things, but it's all full circle.
Yeah, it'll make sense to them eventually. I feel like you just get to a point in any aspect of your journey, whether it's health, marketing, like your limiting factors, your mindset, and you're like, all right, we gotta shift this up a little bit.
Sure.
So
for sure. So let's talk about like growing up in, was it California?
Yeah, Sacramento, Northern California.
Okay.
No surfing.
Okay.
It's a valley. Yeah. So I've been in Kansas City since I was 16. But I always just say I grew up in Sacramento, but I moved a bunch growing up. So like I lived there for majority of my childhood years, if you were to add them all together. But I think in the course of 18 years, I moved like 22 times or something insane like that but California, Kansas City, and Oregon. So random. Yeah.
22 times.
Yeah, a lot. But so we always just go, I'm from California, because that's the gist or the largest span of time.
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta like just jump to it and just do a summary, because when you start breaking things down, people are like, wow, you've got a lot to your story and I don't have enough time for it.
Yeah. Or I always have a joke where I'm like, well, we can I'll explain it to you, but we're going to need one of those maps and like the red pins, and I'm going to start to look crazy at where and you're going to get lost. So
yeah. So, you know, that journey from just moving around a lot, you know, and, you know, this person who's kind of honed in on, you know, like the path of coaching. And, you know, can you talk about some experiences that really led you to, you know, just every stage, you know, hit like, you know, multiple stages on this?
Yeah. Well, I would say so my childhood very inconsistent, all over the place, and I definitely struggled with mental health in my youth. And so I went to college late. I took a year off and I was like, you know, just doing hood rat shit. And eventually I was like, this doesn't feel good. And one of my friend's parents encouraged me to go to college. I went to college. I still kind of was lost and struggling with mental health. I worked in the restaurant industry. I would consider myself kind of like a partier at the time. Still, I didn't know it. It's a hindsight thing, but I was very like much struggling. But I got pregnant. You've seen Mitchell on all my stuff, and I dropped out of college or I failed out of college. We could look at it either way. But then, so once I had Mitchell, that kind of just led me into like, I had to do better and I wasn't happy still. And so that's why I started like leaning into health and fitness and things like that. And then anyone who's ever been on a fitness journey, you kind of know, like it kind of makes that have that itch to do something more. And I've always loved cooking. And so I was like, well, I'll go back to school for nutrition, not even thinking that like I actually like nutrition. I was like, it's food and I love food and I'm into fitness. So nutrition, it goes hand in hand. And so I ended up getting my degree in nutrition while bartending, while being a mom, and while like on this fitness mindset journey. And I realized there's all these like holistic answers to a lot of my mental health struggles. And I was still going through them because I was absolutely stretching myself to the max. But the things that were carrying me through like the struggle were fitness, nutrition, and that was it in the time being, was just the physical stuff. But then I graduated, I got a job as a nutrition coach, and I had more free time. And within this free time, I started kind of getting into yoga and mindset things. And I realized there's this whole other like untapped area of potential. And it was helping as much, if not more, than the nutrition and fitness stuff. And so from there, I worked as a nutritional health coach. Have you heard of Natural Grocers before?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. They went out.
So I worked there for,
right?
No, they're still in business.
Okay. I'm sorry, Natural
You're probably
Grocers.
thinking of a smaller one. They're still in business, guys.
Do they have an orange logo?
Yeah, they have absolutely hideous colors. They gave us this bright, it was the ugliest bag I've ever gotten as a Christmas gift. And I just remember being like, you guys have to change your brand colors. These are absolutely repulsive.
Looking like carrots.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. But yeah, so I worked there. And so then I was like, that's when the seed kind of got planted that I wanted to do more with my coaching, but I was restricted within my title, right? So I was doing community outreach classes in nutrition coaching, working within supplements, but I was like, I want to do more, but I can't, because obviously when you work for a corporate company, you've got rules, regulations, and limitations. And so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to go get my personal training certification because I'll need that no matter what. And I took this massive cut and pay to do that.
What's that? A cut and pay.
Yeah. I was like, all right, experience. And Mitchell, I hope you like the same food every day, because mommy's gonna pay her dues for a little bit. So I did that for a year. And then from there, I just kind of knew at this point that I was going to launch my own business. And I got so fed up within the personal training realm, because I'm so sorry, all personal trainers, we respect you. The hours you work for the amount of money you get, it's not fair.
Doesn't make sense.
I had this plan to, like, you know, ideally like segue myself into having my own business, but it was so bad, and I was just in a situation where I just like jumped and launched my own business and like quit my job. And
just hope that it worked out, right?
It did. It's going great. So
that's so great. No, I love when people make these like these just critical leaps in their life when they have like no stability whatsoever. It's just
And I
like,
had no idea.
if I don't do this, then I'm going to kill my soul for working for someone else, you know?
That's exactly what it is. And you just like, there's this like pull and pull, and everyone tells you too, they're like, that's not smart. That's not smart. And you're like, I know, but I'm being like led this way. And I know what happens if I ignore it. Like,
yeah, for sure. Gosh, you know, like I felt like every single time where like my back was against the wall and I had to really think like, I don't want to go back to work for someone every single time. It made me work even harder to just stay away from going back to work with someone. Just because I just told you this a second ago, I have an authority complex. Like, I have a problem with authority. And my life has always been rebellion because it's not that I can't take advice at all. It's like, I like working with people. I like doing things collaboratively. But as soon as someone tells me what to do and when to do it, that's when I have an issue. And, you know, I don't have enough room to breathe and grow, you know, because I see the obstructions of growth right there. You're only going to get to the top to like this high, you know?
Yeah. And that's I think it's definitely, I don't want to say a personality type, but there's definitely when you have that desire for that growth.
I call it positive ego.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. The ego is there for a reason, and that is one of them. I can listen to people, but I found my thing, and this is maybe my ego, but when it's just like done in a way where you're like, this is not the most efficient process, or you're like, you could think of 15 ways to do it better, but you still have to listen. Like, you're like, it's not my job.
I know.
Not
yeah. I'm like, that's dumb, but I'll do it anyway. This is like probably what you're going to have to deal with your kid here in the next couple of years as well. Like, this sounds stupid, but I'll do it anyway.
I feel like I do that now. He's like, I have this idea. And I'm like, you gotta let him learn. But yeah,
it's cool. It's cool. Like, even for you, you know, you get to come up and curate your own brand, right? You love avocados, so you made a logo with avocado, right?
Yeah, so much avocado everywhere. Sure, you guys can like spot some in the back somewhere.
Yeah, Easter eggs. But, you know, with that, you know, like you're putting your own philosophy into your own business, and you're helping people. Every aspect of business is about people, and you're able to do that with your own community. So how'd you find your community? You know, I don't really know much about you, but it's kind of like you're like a friend from afar that we've met a couple times, but we know enough about each other's personality to be like, okay, I feel like I can trust you, you know? Like you've got that personality trait that it seems like you're warm and inviting, and you want this one-on-one thing really makes sense.
Yeah, thank you. That's good to hear.
You're welcome.
So the way I even grew my audience is honestly just what you kind of like rapport, right? When I come into a conversation or an interaction, I'm just in it, right? And I like, if I'm doing my one-on-one, even with my personal training clients, so there's people I've met in the span of my other jobs that knew me before I had my own business, and just from interacting with me, we're like, yeah, we want to work with you. And then from that, it's referral, because it's just, you know, the relationship you build. That's how I haven't done, everything's been organic thus far. But yeah, so within my jobs, within my experience, like interacting with people, I guess that's networking, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I feel like there's this value of, a lot of people look at their business and they always ask me that question, like, how do you get customers? How do you get customers? What's the trick? What's the trick? I'm like, you make a product that you feel and believe that can really help people. Mine's my coaching and my methods and like mindset aspect of it. And then when you're in it, and you deliver, like, just going with the intention to help people. And that's going to speak for itself. People are going, like, you're going to build a relationship. People are going to trust you. And with that, like, any person you've ever worked with, it's not because you like saw an ad. Sometimes it is, because marketing does work, but one-on-one, like with what I do, it's not because you like see them randomly on the TV and you're like, I want to work with you. It's because someone recommended them because they trust them.
Indeed. So yeah. you went from like emo girl. You were like this emo partier. I remember seeing some old photos.
Still in here.
This like swoop thing.
Oh God.
Did you have like a lip ring or something?
lip, tongue, nose. I got the whole.
Did you ever feel like, like there is more to life? I don't know what I want to do, or did you feel like you were just kind of going through the motions of just, failure,
Yeah.
fulfillment, and I don't
Uh,
know.
beginning.
How does that feel?
Yeah.
Like,
Beginning stages, it was just suffering. I joke about it, but
was it
like
the music that made you feel like you're
no, I
suffering?
think it was. Like, I don't think the music helped the external situations. I, I was sad, and then I listened to sad music, which doesn't necessarily
Can
make
we get
it
a photo
better.
to pop this up, like old Jess?
I mean, I have
Jess?
lots of them. Did you see the one with my arms,
I
where
feel
it's
like
like
there's
my
maybe
social
like
anxiety?
stripes, or like a t-shirt with a long sleeve stripes. I don't know. That's what
Yeah,
I'm envisioning, with
yeah.
like
I don't
purple
think
hair or something. I don't know.
I had some pink hair, never purple, but
Okay.
black was a thing. I can
Yeah.
find some pictures to send you. But yeah, no, I think when I was like in the worst of my mental health stuff, I didn't really know that there was more available, which is why I'm such an advocate for like, oh, like there's something more available to you. But once I kind of got to the growth side where I saw the light and pulled myself out of it, then there was more of the feeling of like something more, something more. But I had to get myself out of that victim mentality of,
The world's
being
out.
in the
Yeah.
shit, everything's working against me. I had to pull myself out of that before I saw like opportunity and abundance and all the cool things in life.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like most people can relate. I don't think that
Yeah.
everyone has had this peachy life.
Mm-mm.
Like even like, okay, I'm the founder of Positive People Posse, but
Yeah.
if someone watched me in my daily, right?
Yeah.
I'm not smiling while I'm eating food, or I'm not smiling while doing laundry. Like every
Yeah.
bit, people are always like, dude, you're always smiling. Well, I love people. I love being around.
Yeah.
But through that process, when I'm working on my own shit and I'm doing
Uh-huh.
things, it doesn't look like the happiest thing.
Yeah.
And so people don't really understand the concept of positivity to its full degree,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, yeah, you go through your shit, but like having that mental fortitude to say, things will get better, but I have to watch how I talk to myself. I have to make strides. I have to have goals. And when you're working on your goals, there might be a lot of darkness within that. And there's a big battle internally and externally for some people and for most people. But, that doesn't mean that there's not a positive equation to it. And so, I urge people just to really just channel how they talk themselves and figuring out what they want to do with purpose and building from that, and having the right community and people. I mean, if someone calls you a piece of shit every single day, eventually you're gonna get flushed down the toilet because you really believe that. So just like, I mean, you need people that can uplift and actually not just like with a facade believe in you, but like truly, build those relationships where you're empowering one another, and it's a two-way street. Don't expect to get all of the love unless you're willing to give it back. And I think that's like what you're doing with your business is you're helping people, but it's a two-way street. You're building a relationship there. Rapport needs to be built with anyone and everyone. It's not so ones and zeros. Like there's a lot of things in between.
Absolutely. Yeah, I always tell people when they're like, because it's weird being in a situation where people thank you for all the work they're doing. Like, why are you thanking me? I just pointed in a direction and you followed. Like, you did all the work. I literally just talked. So,
and that's what they need.
Yeah.
And I also believe that, like I can give someone all the advice in the world and say, hey, this is what you should do, blah, 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 blah. But until you pay for it, you haven't really put any energy toward or effort towards it, because now you're thinking like, well, I'm going to get the most out of the situation. And I urge people not to like make life not about money, because to some degree, money is energy. Money is your time. And so of value, like you're able to bring value to people's lives, and you've already came up with formulas and ways, and, you know, even understanding certain personality types,
Mm-hmm.
that, you know, the money exchange is, you know, basically your time and energy and focus. And so they're making a commitment and you're also making a commitment.
Mm-hmm. Well, I love the point. So the energy thing is so I couldn't afford like having my own coach initially. And honestly, the first coach I paid a large lump sum of money for was a business coach, because I knew I was quitting my job and I didn't know how to run an online fitness business, which is kind of what I initially started as. And the transformation that happens when you give someone a large chunk of your money is insane. And I've the same with like coaching people. I've definitely given free value to so many people, because that's when you start, sometimes that's how that's how you get experience. But the transformations that are the best are the people that pay me the most, which is interesting because it's just that exchange of investment, where if you're not investing in it fiscally, a lot of times your mental attention just isn't there. So that's like not a concept to ignore if you guys are listening. If you want something to grow, like invest in it financially and it will grow.
Because it's all an investment. Like if we're talking about food, if you're buying the shit most food out there, it's still an investment, and it's not paying dividends at all. But
it's compounding in
it's compounding in pounds. Wow, people are like, these guys suck.
Rude.
No, but I mean, it's true. So you're going to spend money at anything and everything, whether if it's your food, your time, whatever. You're going to pay for it, either because you don't have enough experience. So if you're paying for someone else's time, they're basically giving you the equation. They're giving you the playbook that you should model after. Not saying that you're going to retain all of it, but most often, whatever speaks to you, you're going to be like, aha, I get it. Okay, this is how I'm going to internalize this and apply it to my life.
I always tell that with people with books too, because I have some clients who like, I had to restart it. I didn't hear like every single detail. I'm like, did you get something valuable out of it? I'm like, yeah, like that's what you're supposed to get. You're going to read it another time. You're going to get a different message, and that's what you needed. Like our, we take in what we need.
Our level of consciousness. Exactly. Yeah. Whatever's applicable to you, you'll know. Just innately.
And if it's not, then it's not. I find a lot of people, they do this thing where they're just like arguing everything. I'm like, two things can be right without canceling each other out. It's like so a crazy subjective concept.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of that, I just think in line with that conversation, it's so important to realize that there are so many ways that we can look at different perspectives, and our personal truths, that's something that we felt, right? But overall, I think it's always in between. So there's something in between. So the collaborative process of anything is understanding how other people can think. And then that's how we can actually make things happen and grow. And, that kind of is more applicable to politics and stuff. But I have more friends I have a lot of friends that are Democrats. I have a lot of friends that are Republicans, probably equally. It's all the same. But actually, everyone's saying the same shit. But I think they say it with a little bit of different sass and attitude sometimes or whatever. But they're saying the exact same thing. Everyone wants the same thing. But they're saying it a different way. They're making it about Bloods versus Crips rather than, just understanding that, like, okay, we're wanting the same goals and the same things. And our intentions are different depending on what someone's getting paid for too, So if your industry is being affected, you might say, I want to go with this group or whatever.
One thing I've always thought was interesting, is something I like teach in my coaching, is confirmation bias, because it's kind of the same reason like affirmations and things work, is like whatever is repeating in your mind, there's this cool thing you've probably heard. Have you heard of the RAS system before?
Yes, I have.
So it's like it's basically the driver of confirmation bias, but you can use it to your advantage, and that's the same as environment. If you have a bunch of people telling you you're a piece of shit, you're gonna start to believe you're a piece of shit. If you have a bunch of people telling you like you can do it, that's the thing that's gonna find the things to confirm that you can do it. If you're around everything, or like politics, same thing. And a lot of people don't understand that we're just a product of whatever we're telling ourselves most, our environment, and then like cultural whatever's around us. That's been sewn into our brain.
100%. And I feel like, I feel like people allow the world, the weight of the world and all these things to dictate what they should do today.
Mm-hmm.
And that's hard to shut that out. I get it. Mm-hmm. It's with every aspect of media, social media, and your neighbor, there's no way to avoid things like COVID and politics. Mm-hmm. And
it's true.
Or religion these days, or whatever it may be. It just seems like no matter how much you avoid anything, it's still going to present itself. Mm-hmm. But I believe it's more about how you react to it and knowing how much you can digest.
Yes.
And so tell me a little bit about your social media experience, and like how do you stay present on social media without digesting the things that you really cannot control? And I've accepted that. So when I can't control something, I'm more at peace. I know
this. Yeah, this is like, one of those things where it's going to sound counterintuitive because I use it for majority of my marketing and like branding of myself. I don't really consume very much unless it's TikTok, but my TikTok algorithm has been it's basically just all helpful, inspiring shit. So it's like, you can do it. Here's some ways to hack your life. And so it's really turned into something that's like positive feed. Instagram and stuff and Facebook, like I just don't consume it. And like sometimes I will, but I'll like not very much. That's been my mental health boundary, honestly. Like I'll post, share, and interact with my ecosystem of people. But I don't go into like deep holes of like consuming a bunch of stuff that I know is triggering or I know is going to make me feel bad. And then there's also just kind of like a mindset thing where it's like when I am consuming things, I don't need it to be a comparison thing or a right or wrong thing. I definitely have developed a really strong filter of like taking things in. Is objectively the right word?
Yeah.
It's like information. I'm like, okay, I could see where that's coming from, but I don't need to use it as like a measuring stick for anything.
Oh my gosh. I think I'm in line with you on that. And, for me, it's the same, and I've kind of urged my team to kind of be the same way. Not to say that this is a cult, but, but it really comes down to like not letting, the world get to you just because it's online doesn't mean it needs to be your reality every single day. Because we have goals and things that we want to do for ourselves, and how can we help people if we're not feeling our best? And I've definitely even taken even more of a step back on social media lately, and it's made so much positive improvement for my life.
Crazy,
because I thought I had to, in order to be a marketing company, be so in front of people's faces or know what people are gravitating towards. And I believe that if anything, if you just invest the right amount of energy, you're going to get a positive outcome with however you use social media. But taking a step back and kind of going back to how we would remember the days where we can read books and, not necessarily grab our phone every 5 seconds, you can start solving more problems internally. It frees and clears your mind. If you have a free and clear mind, you're not going to be so reactive to everything.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced like the difference of when you're like, it's almost like your creativity is like dulled or it's just not there. And then you just take time away from social media and you kind of tune back in with yourself. And then all the ideas just start dropping back in and you're like, 100%. Oh.
Well, and on top of that, you're not in front of people every single day, right?
Yeah.
And so the collaboration between other creatives, you're not sparking all these ideas all the time. And so, but if you can kind of channel your inner child again and use that imagination, those ideas start flowing again,
It's exciting when it happens too. That's like one of the things that I use as an indicator if my creativity starts to, like if I stop getting ideas, I'm like, all right, something's out of balance here. Do I need to drink more water or do I need to like take a break? What's happening?
And you know what you said about like, you know, the comparison game, you know, there's a lot of people comparing online, and, you know, not to say I'm going to use my positive ego, but I'm in a league of my own, and I'm not here to compete with anyone.
Yeah.
I just love to engage with people, but I like authentic engagement. And so if I do things on my personal Instagram, it's because I want to engage with people. Like I really want to people to understand my personality. I want to understand more about them. It's not always like that. We are more watchers than anything these days as a society.
Yeah.
And
I forget that sometimes. So.
TikTok stats is also, they say 1% of the people on that platform are creating.
Which is
99% are just watching.
And that blows my, I forget that that's like a thing. People just like, I've always been a person where like I made like the weird YouTube videos. So for me, TikTok is genius.
Yes.
And I love that platform in itself. But yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. And so we're going to exchange your handle on TikTok, right? We'll put it up right here, people.
No, okay. You're like one of the few people that follows me that know, because it's not a business TikTok.
And you know why, right? It's because you can be your different self, you know, like that creative aspect that people don't need to see every single day. And that's why I love TikTok, that I would put videos up on TikTok that I wouldn't put on Instagram, because like the audience is curated for it, you know, it's inviting for it. And plus everyone's sick of my shit on Instagram. So, you know, they already know what to expect from me. And so I want to meet new people, and it's just not fit for that. Instagram's not really,
not anymore, at least.
Not anymore. Like you really don't see people connecting with new people on a genuine aspect. It's always about how many more followers can I get so I can reach 10,000, well, you know, or whatever it is.
Yeah. I think the trust kind of got burnt out because when some people realize, because at one point it was easy to grow if you were just posting valuable stuff. It was easy to connect with new people. And now people are so used to people hopping in their DMs like, hey, you look really cool. I like that your page is about fitness. Hey, I think I have this really cool thing that you might like, but no big deal if you don't. But if you want to get on a call with me and you're like, what? Like, no, I don't. Leave me alone.
There was no rapport even being built right there.
Who are you?
You're just selling something and you got 2 followers. You bot? Get out of here. Golly. It's funny because I'll look at the request section. I think that's the funniest thing, right? When you know someone's like either just trying to sell you something or some creep or whatever it is. And
pics,
I've had some weird requests myself, okay? But the funny ones are the robots that say, hey, do you want more followers? And they've got 0 followers. I'm like, okay, yeah. Are people actually falling for this? Like, how does that work?
I mess with them. I'm like, can you show me some account? I'm like, yeah, will you connect me with some references? I'd love to talk to people you've worked with before. And they're like, due to privacy. And I'm like, oh, well, where can I send you some money then? And they're like, it's Western Union.
And how come you only have 2 followers? Like, when you concentrate on growing your own account?
Contact me when you have more than 10,000 followers.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I love
That's
it.
why that's why people are afraid of Instagram. They're like, what are you telling me? And you're like, whoa.
I really want to help. Trust me. You know, like, and that's what I urge with our clients, you know, like everyone's like, we want to grow our social media presence. I'm like, hey, it's okay. Acknowledge that you need social media.
Yes.
But build your audience. You can connect with people a lot easier if you're just really genuine, you know, and, you know, you're really trying to build a community. You don't need 10,000 followers to do that. And, you know, we've taken a step back in the last year and a half from our goals, as far as like growing a social media audience. Like, we can do it. We could probably have 50,000 followers if you want. They're not going to be the right followers though. People are following 7,000 accounts. So how are they going to even see your account? So it's really important to know that you need to spend your energy and focus on, you know, individuals or try to build that trust, you know, because ultimately, if you've got 10,000 followers and they're following 10,000 people, they're not going to see you anyway.
That's really true. It even makes me reflect to like thinking of like, out of my following, who are people who I have like actually worked with
Yeah.
that I converted into paying. I don't like to call them customer because it's a relationship, but
Yeah.
like, and it's always people that it's never like some random person I got from like, some sleazy way. Not that I really ever did that, but sometimes you just get like random people. It's always been
Sometimes there's a butt pic that goes up and then
yeah, it's like you get like it's never the dudes that are like, hey, what fitness plan would get me the most ripped? Like they never
yeah.
actually follow through with it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is the people that I've like authentically like connected with. And usually I'm following them back.
Yeah, exactly. And like I feel like people are ashamed to like mess with their numbers,
I've
It's
seen that a lot
it's so
too, yeah.
stupid. Like
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have an equal amount of people that
Mm-hmm.
I'm following, but also give me a reason to follow you. I want
Yeah.
the same value.
Yeah.
This is an ecosystem I want to create. So we're never worried about other people doing positivity or being,
Mm-mm.
just like us to whatever degree, because I feel like
It's
steel sharpens
impossible.
steels. It's
Yeah.
like I want to see what's working for you. I
Mm-hmm.
want to, and also it's just uplifting to know that there's other people out there that believe in the same type of mindset.
Yeah. I've realized too, there's like, if you're being your authentic self and you're showing up in this way, which I'm sure you've experienced, it's like there's not competition because you're on your own mission. People aren't going to have the same mission. Like it's your vision for a
Yeah.
reason. Same reason some people won't see it. It's not because they need to, it's because it's not for them, which is fine.
And there's abundance, right?
Yeah.
Your formula is going to be different than some other coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it goes back to that connection. And so if you're able to build value with someone else and just understanding one another, people are going to gravitate towards you because you built that relationship. And
Mm-hmm.
so when people are doing this comparison game and they're like, oh my gosh, look at her, how she does this or whatever, or he does this. I just feel like, like that's the insecurity that's speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And so if anything, when I see people who are crushing it, I'm like, yes, dude,
yes.
that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know more. Like, so can we collaborate or can we share ideas? Because this is working with me, because I have a lot of knowledge that I can give to people.
Mm-hmm.
But some people are so protective because they think that they're going to steal your competition and steal their clients or whatever it may be. And life shouldn't be like that. We should have more idea sharing, if anything.
Absolutely. I saw there's like 2 points that made me think of. I've read, these are 2 separate books, but I like the idea for both of them. One of them is like, this is just like a habit, because obviously repetition for changing things. And it's whenever you feel envious of someone or start to compare, instead of doing that, you stop and you just turn off the script and you go, good for them, like awesome for them. And so I remember when I was struggling with this shift, because like naturally we are in a society where we just compare. It's I started doing that and I was like, damn, I like that. Like that feels so much better. And then I lost the other thought. But the other thing is, like, as much as you give is as much as you receive usually. And a lot of people, the holding on and protecting is like more scarcity mindset. So if you're in a scarcity mindset, you can't be abundant because you're like scared and you're holding on to everything so tightly. So if you're holding on to things, you can't get anything new because you're tightly like holding on to things. So I look at that and think about that if I ever start to, it's a scale. It's not a perfect practice always. So,
I mean, last year, March 15th hits, we're in pandemic. People are just buying up all the toilet paper and they're kicking. If their feet could pick up toilet paper, they would have done that with their toes. And you see how people can truly be savages when they're not really thinking about, the greater other use or people, and it's like, if we have that mentality when it comes to fear of running out of toilet paper, what do you think people, what is society doing every single day? And it's because people are not really willing to share ideas. They're not willing to help other people out. But when you help other people out, you get it back tenfold.
Yeah, and imagine in a world where you're like, everyone's helping everyone raise up. It doesn't take away from it. It makes people in a better position to help other people. So more people come up, more people can give, more people can trade, and it's just Like, it's not like no one's losing anything.
No one's losing anything.
More.
Yeah. You're just making it harder for people.
Yeah.
If anything, if you think like that. So what was last year like? I'm sure you had to make some transitions. You're the first guest of 2021. So I really feel like this is like moving forward. Yeah. Okay, now we know what we know from last year. Mm-hmm. You had to probably pivot and grow and improve and do all these things in 1 year. And what does the outlook look like for this year?
So in honesty, like I had to pivot and I went through some stuff, but a lot of it wasn't business related because I was so set up online already because all my coaching is set up online.
You're a visionary.
I was like, whoa, did I do something early? That never happened. But so business wise, I was good, but I had this big shift in realizing like I've really shifted from fitness coaching to more like healthy living lifestyle coaching because I realized like I wasn't authentically like doing something that I fully believed in. And so the lack of passion, not that I'm not passionate about fitness, but it's not like, it doesn't light me up. Like, I'm not like, cool, you have abs. It's one part of the puzzle. Like, it's not going to bring you like happiness.
Yeah.
And so I like had this shift of the only reason like a lot of stuff came up because when you're in stillness of a pandemic and not being able to socialize, stuff comes to the surface and you got to look at it. And so my big thing was like, do the things that make you excited because those are going to be the most helpful. And so I shift what the type of coaching I'm doing. I started my cooking club because previously I didn't do it because I had some limiting beliefs about it, like not being anything that was profitable. I'm like, screw it. It doesn't have to be profitable at first. If you like doing it, do it. And so I had a lot of shifts in that direction, which is awesome because then I get to be more me. So I'm happier. Yeah. And that has definitely just paid off tenfold. And then I guess the other thing is I had to shift all my classes online. So learning to do like online webinars within different like corporate programs is a cool gain I got from it.
Nice.
But I would say those are the two biggest things.
That's awesome. What about you? We'll get to me in a second.
Okay. I want to hear yours.
I really, I see a lot of value in gravitating towards the things that you love. A good friend of mine, Paul Long, he says this constantly and often. And, that kind of goes back to the product side. It's not selling if you truly believe in it and you've actually adopted it for your own lifestyle. Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I used to be this meathead. Like, so if you want to see some old photos, I was this bro. I was like 245 pounds and just like, mohawk. And, like, I really thought, if I was accepted from my aesthetics, that internally I would feel better.
Yeah.
But internally, I always felt pretty decent about myself, just as far as like what I brought to the table with people. And, but I realized like the type of conflict that I was getting because I was this freaking meathead. People would want to fight me all the time. And, they called me a douchebag or cocky asshole or whatever.
The ego was measuring against your body.
And then so I realized that, first of all, my lower back started to hurt because I was carrying more weight. And my legs had never really been that big. And so I'm walking around looking like Johnny Bravo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, I'm like, this is not who I am. This is not how I want people to receive me. And so my product really became about people, if anything. And so when I honed in on, what I ate, what I did, and I started working out differently, that transformation happened. That it made me feel like I was not only more approachable, but I was inviting the right types of conversations and people around me. And so everything that we do in our life, I do believe that we have to be conscious on how we treat ourselves and what we do for ourselves, because outwardly you're going to innately attract better people, quality people. Absolutely. And the conversations get better too. Yes. Not being a meathead.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, man, what's your bitch, man? What's your press? Like, shut up.
Dating gets better too. I remember being like, because I definitely went through the ugly, you've seen my pictures. I went through the ugly duckling phases. So like Fitness was
You
this way
weren't ugly. You were just different.
Let me go back further. I did not have male attention until I got braces on my face.
Okay.
So like fitness was one of my ways of like I started getting male attention, and I was like, oh, and then I was like, oh, like, no, this is not what I want, because the type of male attention that you get. And I was like, why am I doing this? Is this what I was looking for? Because I don't feel like this is what I want. So it is interesting point. But like,
it's
why?
Funny that you say that too, because like, again, we think that having abs, for some people, that's the pinnacle. Getting abs, that's the pinnacle. And it's like, dude, there's more to life than that. Like, what about your fucking mind?
Yeah,
man?
What's gonna happen when you get abs? You get like someone that's hotter, but what's their personality like? Sometimes it's great. So I'm not saying if you have abs, your personality's a dud or anything, but like, why do it, like, and you can have multiple things, but why?
I remember I was dating the wrong person when like I was like really, really fit. And then it got to that point where you just get comfortable in the relationship and you're just like, let's eat Twinkies. I wasn't eating Twinkies. I never.
I was like, that was your go-to.
No, it's definitely not. It was just too much pizza back to back, if anything. Pizza rolls around the stomach area.
Little pizza vitamins.
And so, I remember her saying, hey, honey, I think I really liked you when I was just like, that hurt. That hurt. That really hurt. And I was like, is that all I have? Is just my figure?
That's wrong.
But it's all good. We live and we learn. We realize what we really need in relationships. But if I not grown out of that, I probably wouldn't have grown into myself. And so there's a whole world out there, possibilities.
Yes. You have that moment of realization where it's just like blaringly clear, where you're almost having an out of body experience in your life, and you're like, oh,
That's a good TikTok video. It's coming. It's coming. I've got a lot of personal TikTok videos. I've got this whole studio in the basement with green screens. And so I'm going to be having conflict with myself and different things, because I love doing that. I love showing my personality in a different way, whether if it's received or not, but
it doesn't matter.
I remember
I had one TikTok video go like 1.4 million viral.
Oh my gosh.
It was about my sleeping, because I'm like the person who's awake early and to bed early.
I remember that one. That was
and
great.
I was just like, this is it.
That's it. My body of work. It came down to this. I'm the same way. I had one that had like, nearly 1 million views or something like that. And I wasn't even in it. I was like, this sucks. My claim to fame is that I repurposed a video and it went viral, and then no one followed me back.
That's what happened to me. They're like, oh, you got 1 million views. What happens now? It's like, nothing happened.
Nothing.
Everything's the same.
That's a TikTok video. So I had this video that went viral. What happened after? Chirps, just crickets. Where's my follow?
I'll tag you.
Yes,
please. Follow us. We went.
Yes.
Or we can just do a support group. We went viral for people that went viral but gained no following after.
Can we do a collaborative video where we're in different parts of the nation, but like it's the same concept?
Yeah.
We'll do like some sad music. I went viral once.
Oh, what happened? Well, I really thought my life would change, but
there's really an audience for everyone on there. You just have to absorb the right stuff, because there's like this new Nelly.
You gotta get on there though. Don't sleep on it.
Yeah. So going back to your question, how did I pivot? How did I reset? What really changed from 2020 to 2021? First of all, none of us could actually forecast and foresee that our life would be like this. And initially, I definitely had that scarcity mindset, like, oh my gosh, like I might have to go get a job, but what job am I going to go get? And I'm going to have to shut this thing down, and not only my dream but other people's dreams would not be here. And so losing clients in the forefront of the year, that was really challenging. And then we were able to bounce back and get really scrappy and creative with ideas to be more, economy friendly, just being more economic for, the day-to-day entrepreneur that doesn't know if they're going to be here next month or 2 months. And so we start creating packages for people, and, packages starting at $500, not meaning that we're making money off of that, but it's like, hey, we want to keep their mindset going with their business and understanding that they need to still reach an audience. And so we were able to get a good amount of people, back on track with their business goals, and always thinking that if you had $100, what would you spend that on? Like, we're thinking about areas that are going to get ROI for them. And so, it's the same thing for us. It's like, if we only have X amount of dollars to spend, how are we going to get in front of the right audience? And so that's our goal, is to strategize and help people think about, like, what is your budget? Think about that. A lot of people don't think about budget. I just want to know how much something costs. Yeah. And no, you need to identify what you're willing to commit at any level, house, car, food, or whatever it may be. You have to think about a budget. And if you told me you only had $100, you know what? Hey, I'm going to spend all $100 on one thing, but we're going to make this effective, because when you do well, you're going to reinvest with us as well.
Yeah.
So that was our goal, and that was our plan. And luckily, I'm glad I started talking to myself better, because I was ready to just let it just swallow us.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I'm proud of us. I'm proud of my team. I'm proud of myself. Yeah. And I think it was a year that was really needed for a lot of degrees. I see that a lot of people were suffering, and that sucks. And I know people who've had to shut their businesses down. But if you don't try to think through pivoting, you're never going to grow.
Yeah.
You always have to grow on every single level. I don't care if it's business or just life. You have to think how you're going to grow, and it also, it's so collaborative when you hear other people's stories, and you can make it applicable for yourself.
Absolutely.
And yeah, I mean, it was a learning year on so many fronts. I've absorbed so much information. I've learned so much, and I've been able to pay it forward.
Yeah, that's awesome. Some knowledge I have in my head, and I'm like, I know this is not an original thought. I got it from a book, but it stuck with me, is like, someone's ability to grow and like success is directly related to their ability to problem solve.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with like them being better. It's like, how well can you problem solve? Can you continually do it, or do you give up? So that's a great example.
So many times when I felt like, the pendulum was swinging, and you never know where you're at. You're like, I'm just not getting growth. If you really, really just think about it, like, nothing has ever came easy, especially, even school for everyone. At some point, they were like, this is so tough. Like, when you look back on your body of work, you're like, that was a lot easier back then than it is now. Now, what you know about life, you've got a kid, you've got your business, you've got your own mindset, you've got to manage all these other people's, like, their mental mindset. And, so there's so much that you have to take on every single day. And so everything starts piling up with problems, and it's how you deal with it. And like, but if you've done all the right things along the way, it makes everything a lot easier. Not saying you're going to do everything right, but you learn, you learn through it. It's like, that's not that bad. I never regret a workout. I regret not
working. Don't always want to go, but I don't regret it.
But afterwards, I'm like, I'm so glad I did that. It's like I pushed myself. And we have to push ourselves in different areas and different times of our life. And then afterwards, you're like, man, I'm really glad I did that.
Yeah, and the awareness you gain, like, that's the biggest thing. I think the same concept you're talking about is just like, as you go and as you like sometimes you don't have the answer, but you're going to gain an answer, or you're going to gain self-awareness that's applicable for the next time you like stumble across a problem. So
100%.
There's always some value in it.
But if you don't think and you don't talk like this, right, then you'll never know that it's even possible. And so, with anyone and everyone, listeners, viewers, I think it's really important for you guys to understand that, like, you need to have someone for every aspect of your life. People that make you happy, make you laugh, people that can listen to you problem solving. Sometimes, problem solving is not them having the right answer, but they're willing to listen, and you speak your thoughts out, because that's what ends up happening with me.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll talk to my business partner and I can see the look on his face, like, where are you going with this? Where are you going with this? Oh, okay. Now I see where because I'm thinking through my problem, or the issues or things that we're trying to achieve. And it's like, I need to say all these words, a whole bunch of words, just to get to this point. And then it all makes sense in the end.
Yeah.
So.
That's definitely a thing. That's what I use my journal for, because my friends are like, no, we don't. I might need better friends. So if you guys are looking for
There's that kid video where he's like sitting in like a background and he's like telling a story. He's like, have you ever win and then you happen to and then and like, and he's just not saying any words at all, and then no one knows what to even think of the video, but they just be me. It's just like, this kid didn't say anything. But it was really cute.
Yeah, they're just like,
You shut up. When's the clock hit shut up in your mind? You know, it's like.
Yeah, I feel like as like a mom, you get used to that. And I used to be like, what are you saying? Yeah. But Mitchell will try to articulate something and I'm like.
Or he doesn't have anything to say. He just wants the attention, you know?
Which is a thing as well. They do that for real, though. What
I can do.
So, Mom, I was just like wondering if I can. I'm like, get in bed.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, and that's another aspect about, you know, life in general. Like, I think when people say that they can't be an entrepreneur and be, you know, a mom or a single parent or, you know, or they've got a family, you know, I tell people, like, you don't know what you're capable of. And sometimes you just got to do it. I'm not going to tell you to do it, but if it's going to itch your brain long enough and you need to scratch that thing, like, you might need to try or do something in doses. Just dip your toe in the water a little bit, and you never know what can happen.
Well, I always like, there's this concept that one day just like clicked in my head and it mind blew me. Like, it like obliterated my brain, because I was like, oh. And I was like, you're literally the only thing that's limiting us, minus like actual physical capacity at some point, is your belief in like whether or not you can do something. Because that's what leads action, right? Yep. Like, if you believe you can, like, even with habit change, people are like, well, they'll come to me like, I can't do this. I'm like, yeah, I know you can't, because listen, like, why would you ever do it if you tell yourself every day that you can't do it? What if you told yourself, I am going to do it and I will do it? What would happen then? And they're just like, oh, like, I'm like,
yeah,
so much of
really
it is
that switch that you need to make. And there's a lot of people that believe in yourself. The cat hanging in there. You know, there's just so many of that where, you know, that rhetoric, people start projecting their fears onto other people. And so again, we don't believe because the ecosystem might not be right, or all we've heard is we're not good enough to some degree. Whether if we tell ourselves that, or, you know, we hear our friends say, why would she do that, or whatever. Just think about how people are going to talk about you just by how they talk about other people. So if your friend is talking about, it's true. When they've got a juicy detail, they're like, oh my gosh, did you see so-and-so? They're saying the same shit about you. Yeah. I just no longer care, and I've accepted it. You know, me personally, I'm just like, it makes no difference regardless, because I believe in myself. Yeah. I should believe in myself.
Yes, absolutely. That's one of the hardest things I think with my growth journey is, like, from where I came from environment, like, I like to say, like, everything, they wasn't working against me, but like my soil was not fertile. Yeah. And so like I had, like, I'm still in the process of like making new friends, making new connections that are on the same mindset and like level I am, because there's a lot of people. My family never Mom, if you listen to this, I'm sorry. My family never asks about my business ever. Yeah. They're never like, there's not people like in my day-to-day that support me currently. I have to find people that will, and I do over time. But like, you go through this time where like, no, like, I don't have people being like, Jessica, you're like so good, you could do more. It's me. I'm the only one telling me that right now. But it's important, because anytime I have had that, whether it be a coach, a connection, right? It's like, or seeing someone else do it who came from similar circumstance, or reading. I love reading. Reading's awesome.
Reading is an escape for sure. And there was a book that you and I both had, and you said you were going to read it.
I didn't read it.
Okay, it's okay. Yeah, no. Okay.
I got actually caught up in like this other book, and I read it again.
That's how life should be. Right? Gravitate towards things will come around at some point in time.
I still have it.
Good. You didn't gift it to someone.
I wasn't like, never happening.
Should read this book. You should. I'm not. But
don't
here's
tell
a book
Dom, but not in.
Well, I live by it.
Yeah.
Like, I can read it over and over again too. Because there's always an Easter egg or something that I need to apply to my life.
Yeah.
We graduate on different levels and we learn new things and whatever. But going back to what you just said, the advice that I give people, and it's really just experience. My advice is not like mandated, you need to do this, but if you're an entrepreneur, the first thing you need is more entrepreneur friends, because your family and friends aren't really the people that are going to get behind you. And my theory is the fact that I've made so many transitions in my life. It's hard for someone to believe that I can be an expert in this thing right now.
Yeah.
But when I meet someone new, they receive me as I am. And that's all they need to know. And we'll talk about all of our life experiences in the process when we're building rapport and relationships. But the value is actually, being able to meet someone where you are right then and there, because right now I'm trying to constantly improve my life, and I'm improving our business, and we've got customers that are happy, and we want to do that. And so it would be hard for someone who's known me since elementary to say like, hey bro, I've seen you do some wild shit. I don't know if I want to give you my $100,000, like, hey, just trust me. Like, yeah, but I still see you partying on the weekends. Like every aspect of what they know about me is like this not so serious side. But for me, I'm a certain way with certain people. But I'm way more complex than that. And I take business way more serious, and but I make sure that I'm taking care of my shit in my life, because those are the people that really matter for my life, because I'm trying to build something different, in a different way, but you still respect and love your relationships. And so entrepreneur people, get more entrepreneur friends. Family aren't always going to understand what it is that you do and why you do it. And I would say that there's a handful of people that I feel about the same way, but I don't hold it against them. I'm just
not at all.
It urges me to build better relationships with different people.
And I definitely even that's one thing I'm glad I did, is I put myself in networking event, because I do have friends. They're not like in my day-to-day life, but like people that are supportive and things like that. So I wish we could network more in person. That's one thing I miss.
Me too.
So much.
I really do miss that. Like even when we were doing our events and stuff, for us, it was really just so we could be a case study. It's like, hey, we marketed this event. We did all these things.
Cool. Yeah.
And people think that we made a shit ton of money off of it. In fact, we lost like $30,000 on our last one at Union Station. It was a lot of fucking money.
Yeah, I bet. It was cool though. It was super cool.
It was cool. Yeah.
Dope.
It was dope. We can throw a party for sure. But like every aspect, it would have been more successful if we had more time to get sponsors. And there was a whole equation to it when you get to a different scale of the venue that big. And you have to have the right relationships. And the one thing I will say is there was a lot of people who just didn't want to take it seriously enough to get those sponsorships, where they just didn't want to work with us for whatever reason. You can't just pop out of the blue and expect someone to give you $10,000. But hey, we got this opportunity for you. You got to start, start early, start cultivating those relationships. And so,
the thing I've always realized too is like a lot of people, instead of like looking at someone like, I didn't meet you and think, what can you do for me? I just met you, and I was like, if you're genuine, like back to being authentic, if you're genuinely yourself, eventually something might roll around where it's collaborative. So like when you're networking, not even going out like seeking people to give you things, but just networking to build relationships. Dude. Yeah. Chill out, man. Like we've all met that entrepreneur that's like, hi, I'm blah, blah, blah. Here's my card. What do you do? Can I do this? And you're like, I am so uncomfortable right now.
Let's follow. Let's do coffee, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But it's just like getting to know people is about, like I've had people I met and 2 years later it turned into some opportunity that I like. Yeah. It's like, cool, that's awesome. Not what I like the intention I went into it with. So even remembering that long-term ROI is a thing.
Yes, indeed. And I would say that even most people, when they start a business, the first thing they think of is like, I need to be successful in like 30 days or 60 days. Like, don't. It's not going to work. It doesn't work like that. You need to start building start trying to build relationships before that.
Yes.
And then jump into the game where you have a base of entrepreneurs and people to even put your name out, because entrepreneurial people are connected to people that are connected to whatever they're doing. So you're getting the right audience rather than, just convincing all your friends and family to support your concept. And it's not going to be the same, but yeah.
Well, even as a coach, I didn't really understand the importance of that. Like, I didn't think it was a thing. Yeah. And because I'm a coach, I work one-on-one. Like, why do I don't need, some, like, there's things I don't need. Like, I don't have the same needs as like a brand or a business that's selling something else. And I just did it because like, I was kind of lonely. I was like, wanted to like meet more people. And then I saw the value in just relationships, and it turned into like random things. I was like, oh, that is valuable for me.
Well, and speaking of value, let's deliver, one or two things or three things that have helped you in your process of life. And it's not just, doesn't even have to be entrepreneurial or maybe just helping people. It can be entrepreneurial or whatever it is, but one or two things that you could give advice on.
Yeah. First, I'll say, your growth beyond mindset is directly related to how you feel physically. So taking care of your health, that sounds cheesy as wealth, but like, it's like as much as you can physically put out and mentally is related to how well you take care of your body. So if you are an entrepreneur, don't neglect those things. Because that's your number one, I think personally. Like, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but
no, I get it. No, 4 bodies for me, your spirit, your internal, how you feel, and physically moving, what you eat, all of these things are connected.
Yeah. So I'd say that's a big one that I didn't realize at first. And that's kind of why I got into health and fitness. And then, I mean, we kind of talked on it, but 2 is just literally shifting the perspective of believing in yourself. Like, start telling yourself you can do shit and you'll do it, but like literally believe it because it's true. And the only harm in not believing in yourself is you're not going to try, or so
I agree.
Shifting that.
I agree. And then last but not least, 2 questions. What is your kryptonite, or, the thing that you're least good at? And then we're going to ask about your superpower.
Okay. My kryptonite is probably just, sometimes I think I'm too like this, I don't want to say open-minded, but I see too many perspectives. So it's hard for me to concentrate and organize my efforts onto one thing. And in terms of business and just like moving forward, sometimes that can be limiting for me because I see so many things that I want to like shoot wide instead of narrow.
Yeah.
And then, at the same time, I would say that kind of helps me in some ways though, because it's definitely helpful. Being able to see so many perspectives has been my
crypto superpower.
It helps me with coaching. Okay. So like, if I'm really open-minded, I can see a lot of perspectives. So I'm able to kind of like put myself in the shoes of others really well, which for coaching purposes is beautiful, right? Yeah. And so that really helps me actually help others because I'm not just talking from my while I talk from my perspective and the perspective of people I look like, I can also kind of like visualize into your shoes and be like, oh yeah, I can imagine that.
Yeah, you're an empath in that way.
Yeah.
It's good.
So, but it also can be like, sometimes.
So that was a crypto superpower, right?
I know this isn't a job interview. I didn't mean to do that.
It's okay. He's like, I'm taking notes. Yeah, okay. We'll be giving you a call back now, okay, Jess? Thanks for your time. And superpower.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of it.
That's it. Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So
I love it.
I
love it. I love it.
I can't think of anything else.
How can people follow you?
Instagram, even though it's dying, but not my TikTok. Jess Kaufman _ is the best way. That's where I'm most active. So.
And then your coaching site?
JNK Coaching.com.
Awesome. I appreciate you being on the living room today.
Thanks.
And listeners and viewers, please like and subscribe. We're not clout chasers. We just want more of you. And if you can, follow us on Instagram or even TikTok. We might be doing some fun things on TikTok at Positive People Posse. Everything at Positive People Posse. We'll also tag Jessica on TikTok as well, so you can follow her. But we appreciate you as always. And if you need any help with marketing, we are your sponsor, Positive People Posse 3P Media. Visit positivepeopleposse.com. All right, guys, until next time, live freely. Peace out.